Man, there was a lot of stuff going on. Oh,
Good morning to you,
yeah.
Johnny. Monday morning to all of us out there in the Univision FM universe. Today's Monday, the weekend after Thanksgiving is now gone. We're still very thankful for things, and we want to thank you for joining us today. Like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment. It's kind of cool. This way it helps out the algorithms. We want to jump in and just kind of introduce the president and station manager. We got Johnnie J in the house. I'm Alan C. And you're listening and watching Innervision FM. However you're watching, YouTube, Facebook, Getter. We're on about 10 different platforms. Also 24/7, InnervisionFM.com. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. Let's talk about Thanksgiving before we get into the Chevron, which is not on the list of stuff, but I just thought we should talk about how biased this administration is and how not bipartisan they are. But so I had probably one invitation. My daughter says, "Come on over and join us for Thanksgiving." Well, when I married their mother, my daughter's mother, she had this habit of saying that the event starts at 4:00 in the afternoon, but the food won't be ready until 9:00 that evening or later.
Wow.
So I sort of got used to that kind of thing, And then when I divorced her, then I got back into, if you say it's going to be at 4:00, it better be no later than 30 minutes later after that 4:00. And that's my philosophy, right? So when my daughter invited me, I said, no, I want to eat on time. So my wife and I, the day before, we booked the Maggiano restaurant. Now, as you know, they're known for Italian food. And she has this dessert called tiramisu. And since they originally make it, they're going to make the best tiramisu, right? So they have this menu, and like last year, I guess you could pick whatever you want on the menu, and they just charge you $41 and $40. This year, they had specifically two things you can charge, put on the menu, and it was turkey, ham, or ham turkey, and spaghetti with meatballs, and then mashed potatoes and all that. So, because I'm vegan, spaghetti it's okay, but they had a meat sauce and they had a non-meat sauce. And so if you're not paying attention, and the guy said, "Oh man, I brought you the wrong sauce," but it had an extra meatball, and I told my wife she could have that extra meatball, but then they took the sauce and didn't leave the extra meatball, and then he brought back and so I said, "You were listening. Yeah, if it was going too fast for you and he took it, I could have just stopped him." But it was that kind of a little bit of confusion there. But all in all, she became a official Turkey Day American, where she says, "I am full. I can't finish my tiramisu." And she said, "This is the first time," and it was delicious because I ordered an apple pie, fantastic, and yes, I finished. Well, I didn't finish all the bread and the apple pie, the crust, but I took out the best parts. And she said she couldn't believe it, and then she couldn't believe that she couldn't finish that tiramisu because it was like a lot of food. And we packed it up, and they gave you these bags with the turkey on it. So everybody was walking out with their bag with turkey because sometimes they have four people at the table, 2 people like us, 3 people, and so depending on how many people would depend on how much leftovers you had to take home. And we still have some turkey and ham, which I said I present this to you, and so there you have it. Now, what about you, Alan? Your Thanksgiving?
Well, it was super awesome. Let me encourage you really quick for the viewers who are able to see. Turn your screen share off so that.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so that we got full picture.
Yeah, you're right.
Let's see here. We had quite a little bit of festivities where we were at. We did pull off a little bit of a dinner for those that are less fortunate. And, some homeless folks dropped by. And it was actually pretty cool. It worked out that we did feed between 300 and 400 people. We expected quite a few more, but we're grateful for being able to serve the community in any way that we can. Rick, my roommate, he deep fried like 3 turkeys, and it was a lot of fun. Had some green chili. He made some Spanish rice. His wife made a few things as well, like this pudding dish that has got, it's got all kinds of crazy stuff in there. There's fruit in there and stuff. It's awesome. But there were, gosh, there could have been 20 or 30 dishes there, including all the desserts and all that stuff. So it was really eventful. Like I say, we did serve about between 300 and 400 folks.
Wow.
And, wow, it was a lot of fun, man. It was super busy. Everything was supposed to start at 1 p.m. And actually people rolled on in there probably an hour before everything started. By the time we got there, it was about 12:30 or so. And it was already hopping. I mean, I'll tell you, it was a really good Thanksgiving dinner. Shout out to, we're not advertising these guys, YouTube. We're just recognizing them. So please don't ding us, oh, great benevolent YouTube overlord. But shout out to Cornerstone Cafe, and shout out to Miranda, Brian, and all the staff that made this possible. And shout out to all the volunteers, man. I mean, it was super awesome. We had 8 or 10 folks that kind of rotated and served the meal, and it was a lot of fun, man. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
So,
now, how did they get the word out that this was happening?
They tossed it up on Facebook, and there were, I guess,
okay,
out and this kind of thing as well. And New Freedom Outreach Center also has a YouTube channel, and New Freedom Outreach Center is adjoined to the cafe. So there's a cafe in the back, and the church inside the main church building, and then we hold the church services and whatnot on Sundays in the sanctuary. So it went pretty well, but the cafe is usually open, different scheduled hours and stuff, but it's open pretty much every day at different scheduled times and that kind of thing.
So was this like 400 people sitting down all at once? Or was it like a rotation, some people? Yeah.
It ran from about 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Like I say, people started getting there early and but between those hours of 1 to 4 p.m. or so, we apparently serviced 300 or 400 folks with a good meal and just some good fellowship, and everybody kind of went on their way and did their other Thanksgiving festivities if they had them. And so it was a lot of fun. Let me tell you, folks.
Oh yeah, I love those things. I mean, me and Natalia, we don't go in those because we went to Salvation Army. We did that. Then we had this guy I went to church with a long time ago in the 80s, Clifton Davis Ministry, and he would do it like in a civic center park, have a band and stuff like that, or artists and do the clothing given away, and they would set up some tables. And I don't know if he had it this year or not. We didn't hear about it because it's so close to us. We hear the music and then we go down and we check it out. And sometimes, it's very good weather out there and long lines and everything like that. So I like those things. I mean, they're really special.
Yeah, it's super awesome. I do want to recognize our sponsors, Christian Brothers Moving Company in Inglewood, Colorado, Phoenix, Arizona, also in Texas. Also want to give a shout out to Littleton Eye Clinic, Richard Damiano, is a corneal consultant, and so he helps with vision. And I guess they also do some cosmetic stuff as well. So let's see what we got here. We got the Denver Art Foundation, Colorado Arts Relief Fund, Wells Fargo Foundation, and there's a brand new one as well.
Yeah, let me see. Let me go down now. Where are you at?
Now, for our benevolent overlords at YouTube, also, I do want to mention these are currently just shout outs. Oftentimes, you have to register your video as being, containing promotions and that kind of thing. And that's how sponsors are really recognized. Right now, these are just folks that help to keep the ball rolling. If you want to become a sponsor, hit us up at www.innervisionrecords. That's INNER Vision Records, all one word, .org. And there's a bunch of different ways that you can help. We also take donations and that kind of thing at paypal.me/InnervisionDenver. And there's an alternate Cash App tag as well. So we'll just have to see, how long our folks down at PayPal are, well, anyway, I don't want to touch too much of that.
Okay, so Denver Arts and Venues, did we name that one? Denver
No.
Arts and, okay, so that's the new one, Denver Arts and Venues.
All right.
Denver Arts Venue program. So there, that's the latest one. And like I said, well, hey, thank you guys for sponsoring, and just hired someone to do a lot of grants. And they said they promise they're gonna get some grants before the end of the year. We will see. We will see. Because I've gotten pretty good at this. I pray that they do, but we'll see. Because I got a bunch of credit cards to pay off. Did you hear that even though it was Biden's inflation, that people were spending money, like putting it on the credit cards? I put about $300 and maybe $40 on my credit card. 340.
20 years ago, when cyber technology really started getting its recognition and people started to do online shopping, online shopping usually was about $2.5 to $2.9 billion in sales. That is now, what is it, somewhere around $9 billion in sales. So it's pretty much grown by leaps and bounds. A lot of people do their online shopping now. Yeah, absolutely right. The consumer spending did go up by, I think it was like somewhere around 2% year over year. So there was a little bit more spending than what was expected this year, which is good for the economy. Something which is not as good for the consumer is the fact that you're absolutely right. Folks did have to put a lot of this stuff onto credit cards so that they some deferred payment type of things and do some creative spending options. Let me tell you.
Now, when I first got my first credit card at US Bank, my credit wasn't good, but now I'm in the 700s. And my wife, she's in the 800s. They're still charging me 28% interest.
Yeah.
I mean, and I remember like when I got with Dell and all that kind of stuff, I mean, that was their thing. But I was thinking like, I think at one time it was just between 17 and 21% with my bank. And then all of a sudden it just jumped up. Right. So
my credit card, I paid 12% interest on it. And this was indeed years ago, while I was married and this kind of thing. The credit industry, if you're in the credit industry, you can make obscene amounts of money. I mean, obscene amounts of money. There are somewhere between 40 and $50 billion a year in collected revenue dealing with different things ranging from non-sufficient fund returns to banks
Mhm.
to your basic credit card interest. So
Mm.
there's a lot of money in just these interests and fees that we
Mm.
pay on top of the taxes, on top of what we pay for goods and services offered by merchants.
Mm.
It's
And,
absolutely
and talk about being what business being. If you're a Chevron and your oil company, and you happen to have donated to this Bandito Brandon slash Joe Biden regime, you are now able to pump oil in Venezuela, who has criminal voting and things of the sort. And you can pump oil over there. But if you're another gas company, shell company, and you're in the United States, you are still being penalized because this regime is trying to destroy the oil and coal industry here in the United States, and trying to move everybody into the cities close so they can better be controlled like they thought they had the Chinese people controlled. And have you heard about the videos that's been coming out of China about the protests? Some of them are holding up blank sheets of paper with nothing on it, because how can you accuse them of anything, right? Of being against their omnipotence uh, king. It wouldn't even be called a government. And so have you heard the visuals on some of those protesters? And it's all because they said it was only 10 people protesting, but tell me something. I know 10 is a lot of people, but I heard a whole complex burned up because they had them all welded in there and they couldn't get out.
Yeah, I would imagine because of the lockdowns and this kind of thing, people do reach a breaking point, and
Mhm.
even in some of these places like China, where there is more control over the people than
Mhm.
than we in America here are used to. Uh, China is just a microcosm of what does transpire. See, we've
Mm.
got a small group of individuals, and they control large swaths of population, and that large swath of population decides eventually, hey, no, we can't be doing this anymore. No more. We've got to stand up.
Mm.
Um, you know, Eventually the people have to win over power. I mean, and that's
Mm.
seeing out there in China today. Um,
Yeah.
so, the blank sheets of paper, this kind of thing, you're absolutely right. I mean,
Yeah.
of course, you
Now,
want to go, you want to protest, you want to make sure that people know that you're standing up to be counted. Um,
mm.
but obviously, blank sheets of paper, you're absolutely right. I mean,
Well,
you
in
don't,
that country, I mean, in order to get over the let's see, well, not red tape, but uh, I guess they thought, okay, if you put a blank piece of paper, how can they say that you said something against the government if it's a blank piece of paper? But you're out there for a reason, but it's nothing to link you to anything they might say you're doing.
that's absolutely right. So, the idea that you're standing in solidarity with your brothers and your sisters,
Hmm.
uh, kind of thing, is just as powerful as a sign with a bunch of words on it. At least that's the thinking behind it, anyway.
All right. And
Uh,
people leave your comments down whatever platform you're watching this on. Oh, I'm gonna also try to get us on LinkedIn because I now have enough members to put us on LinkedIn. So soon we'll be on LinkedIn as well. So leave your comments down there, share, like, and subscribe. And really help us out with the algorithms. And even you can donate as well through YouTube or paypal.me/InnervisionDenver. That's paypal.me/InnervisionDenver. Yeah. Now, Phoenix, Arizona, they want to certify, even though 64 machines did not work. They want to go ahead and certify, And the Secretary of State, who should have recused herself, is overseeing this certification. Now tell me, and then when they had a protest, only 120 people showed up to that protest. Now, come on, people. Are you not hurting enough in Phoenix, Arizona? Is it that you're afraid of the violent left that much that you won't stand up for your rights in Phoenix, Arizona?
Well, without getting too far into this because of the sensitivity of this topic, the bottom line is this. There were a couple of memory cards that got lost. One memory card that got lost. And basically what the deal was, there were two that were included in this one pouch. And of course you had to have on the pouch, marked how many were in that particular pouch. And so apparently there was a little bit of a mix up, and one of the employees had not read the amount of memory cards that were contained in that pouch. And so only one got uploaded. And then when they discovered that additional memory card, they went ahead and uploaded additional stuff. So, it's interesting. So, I'll let you folks out there draw your own conclusions. If this happens in one county, in one state, could this possibly happen in other counties and other states as well? And if so, why are we allowing this to happen at all?
There should have been more. There should have been an army of people, not 120. What is that? What does that say? Is like, are you guys that timid? You Republicans out there, maybe the Democrats say, hey, we won, so hey, well, we don't care. Maybe. But are you that? What do they have to do? Do they have to lock you in your apartment, your house, before you say, wait a minute? What, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna ask this question. What would the government have to do to you to make you stand up and say, we're paying you, you're supposed to be our representative, we're not your servants? What would make you stand up and say, no more? Because apparently this is not enough.
That's absolutely right, Johnny. I mean, the bottom line here is this. We're allowing for this to happen as a people. And the reason why there are certain of us standing up to this is because we don't want it to happen to you, the Democrat, the average Democrat either. We want equality for all. We want voting rights to be effective for both parties. It just boils down to this. Let's say the Democrats set this machine up and they're happy with the results and they like the way that things are going down. Let's just pretend that somehow that power structure gets flipped. Does that mean then that the Republicans get to use those kind of tactics to keep the voter suppression going? I mean, we're trying to fight everybody's rights here, whether you're Republican or Democrat. We need to be united in the fact that our election should be truly free and fair. And it can never be a free or fair election if things are done electronically. And because of the fact that algorithms can be manipulated, because of the fact that memory cards can be, whoops, sorry, we forgot to upload this one. Because that can happen. There's got to be a different way. There's got to be a way where you can hand count paper, hand count it, 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. I mean,
yes,
computers are great for some things, and when they're used properly, they're an awesome tool. But as I say, they can be manipulated. Hand counting is always the way to go. Having people that are honest, that overwatch that hand counting and ensure for both parties that the elections are free and fair. So I hope YouTube does not ding us for our personal beliefs as to how things should run. We're not saying anything is going down. Everything's probably just fine. but we just want to make sure it stays fine.
Yeah. Now, tell me something. Our next topic will be, I guess, last week, President Trump invited Kanye West to come have lunch or dinner with them, and he probably didn't say don't bring anybody, just come yourself. I've never heard of this guy but supposedly he's part of the white supremacy. So Nick Fuentes, have you ever heard of this guy?
Well,
I've never heard of him.
I've heard the name, and honestly, I have no idea about who he is.
Yeah, and with the last name of Fuentes, how can it be white supremacy? I'm I'm not sure because they all say white nationalists. Well, maybe nationalist is not a bad word only when Democrats say it. So, yeah, okay, well, he's white, he's a nationalist, so okay, he cares about his country. And then I put Omar in there because she's definitely anti-Semitic, and the Democrats don't seem to have problems with having dinner, lunch, breakfast with her. So why are they so up in arms with Kanye West and this Nick Fuentes?
Yeah, I'm not absolutely sure. It is interesting because I think this is a division tactic that's being used to just keep people from uniting around a candidate. It's interesting. Kanye, I guess, has decided he wanted to sort of throw his hat in the ring and try for president, and he's got some stones. I'll tell you what, because he did give Donald John Trump the opportunity to be his running mate. Hey, do you want to be my vice president? And if I were Donald John Trump, I have to say my ego would not allow for me to take a vice presidential position with somebody. But on the other hand, it's all about ego. It's all about power anyway.
And reportedly, he said that he wanted to have a meeting with Kanye because he said he felt that he was a troubled individual. Now that may or may not be true, that he actually said that or felt that way, because whenever it's in the news media, since it's fake news, they can always flip it and say whatever they want to say.
Well, I've got a lot of respect for Kanye West. He's a great entrepreneur. He bought Parler, which is a alternative platform for conservative voices and for anybody that wants to get on there, really. But the interesting thing, he has decided he wanted to shorten his name to Ye. And whenever people do that, at least it's been this way in my personal experience, whenever somebody wants to go by a certain handle or a certain thing, there's got to be some sort of ego involved. I mean, I don't know. I just.
Another thing, which I didn't put in the thing, but I should have, because this, you ever heard of Mosin at Large, Mosin Mushroom FM? You ever heard of the radio station Mushroom FM?
Absolutely. In fact, the underwriters for this very show used to do some work with Mushroom FM. Brett Boyer?
Oh yeah. Well, I was listening to Mosin, and I guess they're moving from Twitter over to this other platform because they said that Elon Musk, and I need to confirm this, fired all the people that were part of the accessibility crew of Twitter. Now,
that is going around the blind community, yes.
Now, is this propaganda? Part of the left propaganda?
Partially, perhaps. So Mastodon is the platform that a lot of blind folks are moving to especially those that do happen to be affiliated with the Democratic Party. And a lot do with the fact that, yes, indeed, the idea is that the accessibility department has been all but decimated. So, I'm going to dig super into that and see if we can get back with you for you folks out there in the Intervision FM universe. We'll give you the facts on this because this is something that's near and dear to our hearts because we do be blind and we do use these accessibility features that are very important on any platform. So let's just say that it is 100% true. Let's just pretend for a second. If that's the case, that's fine. I'll email, I'll find a way to Elon Musk and say, look, why don't you hire me? Why don't you hire some other? And we'll get this.
We'll pay attention to get that disability thing because I just feel like it was just instead of saying we're leaving because Elon Musk is here, kind of like a smoke string. It's like we're leaving because they're not accessible, and who's to say this other thing is accessible?
I've taken both platforms. They both need a little bit of tweaking. Twitter over the years has become pretty accessible. It's pretty cool.
And I believe me, I'm on Twitter now, and I find it even better than it was when those other banditos were a part of it.
That's right.
And it's kind of weird. Like somebody will put out something, and then they will want to screen your comment before they put it up there. So now it looks like everybody on their feed looks at them. So those people, I block them back and just send them away because I figure if they're not going to let me have free speech on their stream, why should I even see theirs? Because they put out a question just to troll you. And so I just get rid of them.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. A lot of folks have taken to doing that where they'll troll somebody and then they'll set their comments to where they can moderate the comments so that you can't even respond to them. So what's the even allowing the trolls a bridge to stand on? Why feed the trolls?
Right. So I said, no, I'm not going to play the game. But like I said, to me, it seemed to be even better now that he's taking the part because before, it just didn't seem like it was working. But now it seems like it's really working a lot smoother. And maybe because I'm paying that $4 a month, but who knows? But anyway, it is what it is. And I am so happy that he got a hold of it, and we'll see what happens. And then for True Social, that's not as accessible. And then I understand that there's not as many because it's only our group of people, and maybe not all 75 million, but and so there's still not that big of a group on True Social because, of course, it's more conservative and. You're not going to get away with a lot of stuff that you might have got away with on Twitter. So they said that over on Twitter, even though he hasn't gone back over there, he has a multitude of followers on his Twitter feed at Real Donald Trump. But then he has less over at True Social. But he can't leave it because that's his company. And if he left it, then what's the use? Oh, man. So
that's right.
This is exciting, man. So we didn't get down to the Disney movie that came out this weekend. I'm gonna still check that because that seemed like that got covered. The one that they're trying to force their white ring socialist woke what are we saying grooming philosophy on you, and so. Probably it didn't even have a blip in the as far as like money because they would have to make at least 90 million to make a profit and pay those people for advertisement and all that kind of stuff. And so, hey, Disney, go woke, go broke.
Yeah, left policies do have a tendency to really cause people to hemorrhage money, to really cause people to be divided when in fact need to we need to pull this together, folks. Republican or Democrat, how many arms do you have? I mean, two.
Mm.
How many legs do you have? Two. How many brains do we have? Well, one in each head. How many hearts? One in
Yeah.
each. And the bottom line is, if we do not, as a human race, start to unite around our commonalities, instead of simply celebrating our differences, we're going to remain divided. We're in chapter 5 of
Yes.
1 Timothy.
1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 1 through 8.
So this basically deals with the widows and elders of the church and how we are to interact. So sort of hierarchical structure that takes place. So when you first started chapter 5, verse 1, it says, let's see here, rebuke not an elder, but entreat him as a father, and the younger men as brethren. So basically, just in that particular verse, have respect for those who are over you in leadership. This is something that we have to have, whether we're in the church or whether we're outside of the church. So this is why we pray for our leaders in government. We're all brothers and sisters here in the InnerVision FM universe and outside of the InnerVision FM universe. So this is why we push this unity kind of thing. We want to unite around those common values. Second verse starts with, let's see here, the elder women as mothers, the younger as sisters with all purity. So basically, we're looking at trying to just build each other up. We're looking at concentrating on the things that make us who we are, and to keep those things pure. Verse 3 is dealing with widows. So honor widows who are widows indeed. But if any widow have children or nephews, let them learn first to show piety at home, and let's see here, to requite their parents, for that is good and acceptable before God. This deals with how to take care of those that are less fortunate. Women who have lost their husbands. It also talks about in verse 5, now she that is a widow indeed and desolate, trusteth in God and continueth in, what is this? Supplications and prayers night and day. So it's important to never give up and to always be praying for the things that you're looking for, whether you're a widow or whether you're not. I mean, this is something that I really believe. But she that
so and I like this part is that by when you do this, you're repaying your parents and your grandparents that came before for what they have done to you, because before you could feed yourself, change, wipe yourself at the toilet, somebody had to do that for you. And so repay your parents and grandparents back with respect. And I remember one time I was with this musician. It was a Cindy Martinez, and I remember she went over to her grandmother's house, and then she knows that her grandmother had probably went to the bathroom in her clothes and stuff like that. And instead of her saying, "Hey, Grandma, let me help you and clean you up and stuff like that," she just left her grandmother in that situation, saying, "Oh, it's not my, what I can't do." And I'm thinking like, wow, if you notice that, at least offer to help your grandmother, because
that's absolutely right. I mean, that's absolutely right. There is no getting around any of this stuff, because see, if you do it the other way, as outlined in verse 6, it says, "But she that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth." This deals with everybody. I mean, if you're too busy with yourself and your own pleasure, you're not going to want to give to others. You're not going to want to put others first. You're not going to want to have that servant's heart, and that's super important for the human race. I mean, we're a social group of people. I mean, we have to have company. We have to have family. We have to have these hierarchical structures where we hold people in certain regard and respect them, even if we don't agree with sometimes half the stuff they come up with. I mean, we do have to respect them, and we got to do that enough to be able to pray for them or to take care of them when they get older.
Yes, yes. And so I'm so proud of people that I have known that have said, okay. There was it was a song back in the 60s, and this guy was singing it, and he was sort of speaking it. And it says, "Hey mother, if you are you need a place to stay, you can come stay with me, and I'll take care of you." And songs like that. I mean, you don't hear things like that today. We're so far removed from what is saying here in the Bible. It says, younger women, if you have children and other, let them take care of you, and don't burden the church with that.
Right. Yeah. And that's absolutely right. I mean, although it is the church's responsibility in some way to be in the community, to go into the byways, the hedges, this kind of thing, to spread the good news of the gospel. And sometimes, it's also within the church's purview to come alongside those that need some help. Help should come from the family. Help should come from the granddaughters, grandsons, and it should flow back to the parents and the grandparents, those that have gone before us. We are their posterity, and it's almost as if we owe them a debt, and we need to repay that. We need to get back to that.
And so, is there anyone who doesn't provide for the relatives, and especially for the own household, they have denied the faith, and they're worse than a unbeliever.
That's right. Because an unbeliever, they just don't know, or maybe they
don't even care.
They don't care. But this is worse. They know the right thing to do. They know that it will help the community. They choose not to do that and to go live their own lives, do their own things, and just kind of let the chips fall where they may. This is unacceptable. And we need to stand against this. This is part of getting involved at the local level. This is part of being involved at the state level and at the federal level. But before even any of this starts, it starts at home. We get family. We get involved with our mothers, our fathers, our grandmothers, our grandfathers. We get involved with these folks, and we help them out as much as possible. The shipping them off to a nursing home is too easy of a choice nowadays. Now, I do understand folks that have done this, and that's understandable. We have so much going on in our own lives, and it becomes impossible to really bear down and provide the quality health care that a senior citizen or disabled senior citizen needs. But the point is, man, okay, great. They've got these homes, they got these places for people to go. At least go and visit them once in a while. I mean, it's horrible when people send their relatives off to these nursing homes and then never go visit them.
Yeah. When my mother was in this nursing home, we would go visit, and it was this one lady, she was like 76 years old, and they called her a runner. So they had this ankle bracelet on her because I'm not even sure why she was even there, because she was helping pushing other people around and stuff like that, in a wheelchair and whatever. And because I guess somehow, in some way, maybe she couldn't manage, but I mean, she seemed pretty clear-headed to me. But it was just weird that I said 76 years old, and you don't have any family. And so the family say, well, we're going to, take you out of your house and we're going to have you live. And those places don't smell good, man. I mean, it's like, I'm not sure what cleaning stuff they're not using, whatever, but I don't know. It's just, I don't, and then I heard on these financial shows, this one lady, I guess she had her own house and they refinanced the house, and she only lived about like 9 months after, but they refinanced. So, because she said she didn't want to move outside of that house. And so the kids, okay, let's refinance it and we'll have a home care nurse come inside the house and do that. And my mother wanted the same thing, but my brothers, I don't know what, I know she was a mean and tough woman when she was younger, but I'm not sure why they couldn't do the same thing with her. And then with my sister, she was supposed to give her, I'll tell you this story. You get medication, but if you eat hot dogs all day and you just get a little bit of water with your medication, hot dogs, you become dehydrated. And in their case, her fingers started to curl back and all that kinds of stuff, and they called the ambulance, and then that became the thing. And I'm thinking, like, my sister, you don't have any kids. You could have gave me a key to the house and I would have made sure that she ate more. I know she liked hot dogs.
Right.
Right. But I would have, even have to bring over a little blender, I would have blended up something more than hot dogs.
Absolutely. I mean, too much salt in there. There's a lot of chemicals in there. I mean, man, we as Americans, man, we just don't eat right anyway, as it is. And when we transfer that on to our elderly, man, it's never a good scene. And I used to look at this back in the day, but now that I'm getting older, I'm going to be 52 here in a minute. I look at things and I go, wow, I got 20 years, perhaps. If I live to see this, I've got 20 years. And after that, man, are my kids going to put me in a nursing home at the age of 76 or 78 or whatever like this? I mean, and if they are, how will I be treated? Will they come visit me? Well, shoot, they've got their own things right now and they've got their own lives right now. My youngest one's 16. My older one's just turned 21. I don't talk to them too much as it is, but now when I get older, wow, what's that going to look like?
And how can we plan? Because did you hear that Irene Cara, who was 63, same age as I am, just died? And I'm thinking, like, what was going on there? Because I mean, and then I heard like her career just stalled in the 90s because there wasn't too many parts for her. And I'm thinking, like, people, I mean, there should have, even independent films should have picked her up and did some stuff like that. Some of the things I hear about, I'm thinking, like, I don't know, man. It's like, and now I'm getting into it. Like, I'm gonna put together a will, and I found out about this insurance company. I forgot the guy. This guy, he shows you, he has a book about baby steps and financial stuff. So I said, I got to be proactive. Because I got to tell you this one story. I had this it was a lady friend who's dating this guy who lives in our building now, and her mother, we used to go there and visit her, me and Wayne, and her mother said, I'm leaving money to my daughters. And it was like, 4 kids. 2 kids had houses. The other 2, they were alcoholics and whatever, right? But they live with the mother. Well, she died and she left all of them $35,000 apiece, which may or may not be a lot of money, but the taxes was only $1,000 a year. And the company kept saying, pay the taxes and you can keep the house. And I went over there and I said, it was there 2 girls, daughters, and then a granddaughter who was 20 something, 30 something, with a grandchild. And I said, ladies, work, you wash dishes, go Taco Bell. Because one daughter, she bought her boyfriend a motorcycle. motorcycle's gone. Right.
Wow.
The other one, she drank herself to death. Right.
Wow.
And I'm thinking like, girls, and I look at that and I said, maybe I should have just moved out of this apartment, took over the house and said, okay, ladies, I'm in charge. Get your ass out there and get a job and help with this. But I felt like, well, it's not my problem, but I probably could have took over the house, and it was a nice house, but the daughters kept on crying about, oh, they're going to kick us out of our house. So pay the taxes. $1,000. You guys can do it. You got 35,000. What happened to all that money? And but so many, parents, the mother knew that these two girls weren't really, the elevator wasn't going to the top. But the other two sisters just sat back and watched as well. And I don't know, man. It's like when you see stuff like that, it's kind of frustrating where the mother, she did the right thing, but the children they left money to didn't know what to do with the money because they didn't know, wasn't trained in a financial way to make that money grow.
I think that's kind of by design. I think the richer upper crust of society tend to kind of give their children the financial training that's necessary, whereas the public schools are for the quote lower and middle classes, and it's certainly not taught within our public schools. Financial
literacy.
Financial literacy and independence is just not taught in our schools, as is civics. Civics are not taught either. So we've got that double whammy going down. It is a difficult thing to stay united with your brother, your sister, with your pastor, with your community, with your officials that you elect. A lot of folks, they'll just think that their civic duty is to get out there and to go ahead and vote for the person they want on the red or the blue sports team, and then leave it alone for 4 years or 2 years, when in fact, our system was never designed for that. We are supposed to be actively involved to citizen. I mean, I'm not talking about statist involvement and this kind of thing, and there should be 100 million politicians. What I am saying, though, is we should take active involvement within our local communities in whatever way we can, moving that to the state and then moving that into federal service as well.
Yeah, we might do a show on this and have some financial person come on the show and talk about this. Because I see a lot of them on YouTube, and I might just say, hey, reach out to them and bring them on, because I'm becoming more, I'm becoming more secure with this, and it's like I never wanted to really own a house. I came here without, I didn't have a house when I came here. I'm not going to leave with a house, but I thought, what do you want to do for the kids out there, and will they be able to take care of it? And maybe I while I'm still healthy and stuff like that, start talking to them about generate their wealth and how I can pass whatever I have down to them, because I have the company InnerVision. Is it just going to die with me, or can they pick it up and continue on with InnerVision?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And that's something that's very important, is just what you said. I mean, you're wanting to build generational wealth, and that's something that, that's part of what America was founded upon, was trying to keep generational wealth within the power of the people, as opposed to a few small families. And we're really far away from that, let me tell you.
Oh yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, hey, if you like what you hear, like, share, subscribe, and give us some feedback in the comment line.
Yep.
And so we're going to call it a day, and we'll have some fun topics for tomorrow. And God bless, and we'll see you then.
God bless.